Waking up or standing up only to feel that heavy, tingling numbness in your toes can be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
It often feels like cold pins and needles, making those first few steps of the day feel unsteady and uncomfortable. Many people brush this off as just another part of aging, or simply assume they slept in the wrong position. But if this tingling happens frequently, your body is likely sending a quiet signal about your circulation and your nerves. Your lower legs rely on a very delicate, constant partnership between the blood vessels and the tiny nerve endings. The nerves down in your toes are at the very end of the line, located farthest away from your heart. To function properly and send clear signals, these nerve endings need a steady, uninterrupted supply of oxygen-rich blood. When that blood flow slows down, the nerves do not get the oxygen they need, and they start to misfire. You can think of it like a cell phone slowly losing its signal. The connection becomes fuzzy and static-filled. Experiencing this once in a while is perfectly normal. But if it happens often, your legs are asking for support. Today, we are going to look at simple, gentle ways to support both your nerves and your lower leg circulation. When feet feel cold and numb, the most common response is to just put on a pair of thick socks. While socks warm the outside, the real warmth and steady sensation must come from the inside out, through better circulation. Before we look at the daily habits that help, there is a very simple way to check what your legs need. Let's try a quick self-check together right now to see how well your lower body circulation is keeping up. Right now, try to gently feel the temperature of your calves and the tips of your toes. If your toes feel noticeably colder than your knees, your circulation might be a bit sluggish. Also, notice if the tingling happens mostly when you are resting or sitting down for long periods. To understand why this happens, we have to look closely inside the lower leg. Blood travels a very long way down to reach the tips of your toes. And the tiny nerves waiting at the end of this highway depend completely on those nutrients. When blood flow drops, these nerves send a sudden panic signal, creating that uncomfortable tingling sensation. This is actually your body's smart, protective way of asking you for more movement. But if it happens every single night, the vascular pathway might need some consistent daily support. Sometimes the nerve itself is irritated, like in peripheral neuropathy, rather than just a circulation issue. But even in those cases, supporting better blood flow can help protect those vulnerable nerves over time. Think of it as clearing the main road so essential supplies can finally get through. One of the biggest roadblocks to this delivery system happens when we simply sit down. Resting feels good, but for the blood vessels in your legs, it can quietly become a trap. Let's look at exactly what sitting does to your second heart and how to fix it. Studies show that prolonged sitting can significantly slow down the blood returning from your lower legs to your heart. Every moment you are seated, gravity is constantly pulling blood down toward your feet and ankles. Without the movement of your muscles to push it back up, fluid starts to pool, creating that familiar heaviness. Sitting with your knees bent for a long time is a bit like kinking a garden hose. And crossing your legs makes this compression even worse, pinching off the supply route to those nerves. Fortunately, your body has a built-in mechanism designed specifically to fight gravity and restore that vital circulation. Deep inside your lower leg is the calf muscle pump, often referred to by experts as your second heart. Every time you gently flex your ankle or take it pushes the blood forcefully back up through tiny one-way valves, fighting gravity to return to the chest. When this pump is active, the tingling often fades quickly because fresh, oxygen-rich blood finally arrives. The catch is, this essential second heart turns off completely when you sit perfectly still for too long. When that happens, the nerves in your toes are waiting for oxygen that is essentially stuck in traffic. But here is the good news. You do not need to run a marathon to get this traffic moving again. A few gentle daily habits can keep this pump primed and those delicate nerves well fed over time. Let's start with 3 simple, practical ways to wake up your legs and support your circulation today. Before we look at the exact movements, you need to start from the inside out with a glass of water. Blood is mostly water. When we are dehydrated, blood becomes thicker, stickier, and much harder for the body to circulate. That thicker blood has a much harder time pushing through the tiny microvessels to feed the nerves in your toes. After 50, our body's natural thirst signal often gets a bit quieter, making it very easy to accidentally underhydrate. Keeping a glass of water nearby, especially first thing in the morning, is a simple habit that reliably supports your circulation. Try to drink more during the early part of the day, so it doesn't interrupt your sleep later at night. But even perfectly hydrated, smoothly flowing blood needs a mechanical push to travel back up against gravity. That mechanical push is exactly what delivers oxygen-rich blood to those tingling, waiting nerves at the bottom of your feet. Consistent daily water intake builds your foundation. Now, let's look at how to actively use your second heart. How do we gently activate the calf pump while we are sitting down watching TV or reading? You can try this first simple movement right now, straight from your chair, to get things moving. Let's start with gentle ankle circles. Slowly roll your ankles to gently warm up the joint and the lower leg. Roll them 10 times in one direction, then 10 times in the other, feeling a gentle stretch in the calf. This simple motion quietly wakes up the lower leg muscles, preparing them to support your circulation without needing to stand. But there is an even better, more powerful movement designed specifically for pushing that fluid upward. That movement is the seated heel raise, and it is your primary tool for waking up circulation. Simply lift your heels as high as you comfortably can, hold for 1 second, then slowly lower them. When you do this right, you should feel a gentle, distinct squeeze in the back of your lower leg. That specific squeeze is your second heart actively turning on and pushing heavy fluid upward. Because when old fluid moves up, it makes room for a fresh wave of oxygen to reach your toe nerves. For this to work well, try doing about 10 to 15 seated calf raises for every hour you sit watching TV. If you prefer resting in a recliner with your feet elevated, you can simply try air cycling instead. This still activates the muscles and keeps the ankle joints mobile, preventing blood from quietly pooling. Always keep these movements slow and gentle. If you ever feel sharp joint pain, stop and talk to a doctor. Priming this internal pump regularly is often one of the most effective ways to reduce that heavy, tingling feeling. But movement is only part of the solution. The blood vessels themselves need to be flexible enough to handle the flow. As we age, those vessels can naturally become stiffer, making it harder for circulation to run smoothly. That is where habit 3 comes in. Certain foods provide internal signals that tell those pathways to relax. The most important of these signals is a molecule your body creates naturally, called nitric oxide. Let's take a look at the best everyday foods you can eat to help your body produce this critical signal. Dark leafy greens like spinach and arugula, along with beetroot, are fantastic choices for supporting healthy blood flow. Your body uses the natural nitrates in these foods to create nitric oxide right inside the blood vessels. Think of nitric oxide as a gentle, natural signal that tells your stiff blood vessels to relax and widen. When the vessels widen, that fresh, oxygen-rich blood can easily reach those distant, tingling toe nerves. Studies show that regularly eating these dietary nitrates can noticeably support peripheral circulation in older adults. You don't need a massive amount to get this benefit. A small side salad every day is a great start. To make it even stronger, pairing those greens with a little fatty fish like mackerel or salmon brings in omega-3s. Omega-3s help protect the inner vessel walls and support a much healthier inflammatory response overall. Together, the greens and the fish create a very simple, powerful circulation-supporting meal. Starting with everyday whole foods like this is usually much safer than jumping straight to heavy supplements. And a quick note, if you take blood thinners, always check with your doctor before drastically increasing your leafy greens. Water, seated calf pumps, and vessel-supporting foods work together to build a strong daytime foundation. But what should you do right before bed, when that heavy, tingling feeling often bothers you the most? Nighttime is tricky, because while gravity isn't pulling blood down anymore, your physical inactivity is at its peak. Let's build a safe, simple 5-minute bedtime routine to calm your legs before you go to sleep. When you finally lie down at night, gravity stops pulling blood down, but your internal pump also stops completely. This sudden halt in flow is often the exact reason that tingling feeling peaks right as you try to sleep. Step 1 of your routine is simple. Use a soft pillow to elevate your lower legs while lying down. Raising your calves just slightly above your heart uses gravity to quietly drain pooled fluid away from the feet. This clears the pathway, allowing fresh blood to easily reach your toes without fighting against heavy resistance. Step 2 is to actively use your second heart while you are already lying there resting. We call this gentle supine air cycling, and it requires no equipment and very little effort. Move your legs very slowly, consciously pointing and flexing your toes for just 1 or 2 full minutes. This simple action gives your leg veins the mechanical push they desperately need to clear out stale blood. It effectively reprimes your internal pump right before you close your eyes and fall completely asleep. Just 5 minutes of gentle elevation and air cycling can drastically change how your feet feel at night. Like any habit, it may take a few nights of consistency to really notice the comforting difference. The primary goal is simply to help those toe nerves calm down, so you can finally rest deeply. However, there is a very important difference between normally tired legs and a serious medical warning sign. Let's make sure we know exactly when it is time to ask a doctor for help. Earlier, we talked about how those nerves in your feet start misfiring when they are waiting for oxygen. If hydration, movement, and nitrate-rich foods do not help clear that traffic jam after a few weeks, then that tingling might be a quiet signal of a larger roadblock that needs professional medical eyes. First, if the coldness or severe tingling happens in only one leg or foot, pay close attention. Noticeable differences between your right and left side should always be evaluated by a doctor to ensure safety. Second, if your calves cramp or hurt predictably almost every time you walk a certain distance, and then the pain stops completely when you rest, this is a classic reason to get checked. Third, Any sudden, severe numbness or a noticeable color change in your toes is an urgent warning. Sudden changes like these mean you should not wait. You need to seek medical care immediately. We do not look for these red flags to panic. We look for them to protect our independence. A doctor can easily check your pulse points and run simple, painless tests to see your exact circulation. They can see if the main arteries are clear, or if the nerves might need specific medical support. Getting checked early gives you the best possible options to keep walking comfortably and living actively. So, how do we put all of this together to build a much stronger tomorrow for your legs? Let's do a quick recap of your new daily routine to keep that second heart pumping perfectly. Your legs carry you through life, and their nerves need a steady flow of oxygen to stay quiet. Start the day by hydrating to keep your blood moving smoothly and prevent sluggish flow. Prime your second heart with gentle seated calf raises for every hour you sit down. Add dark leafy greens or beetroot to your meals to help relax your blood vessels. And finish the day with 5 minutes of gentle leg elevation and air cycling in bed. Tingling toes are not just a nuisance. They are an ongoing conversation with your body. By supporting your circulation daily, you are actively protecting your mobility for the years ahead. Small, gentle habits, when done consistently, make the biggest difference over time. Try adding just one of these simple habits today and see how your legs feel. Thank you for taking time to learn about your body today. Stay moving and stay healthy. Before you go, please remember to listen to your body and your doctor. This video is for general educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have a medical condition, joint surgery history, severe pain, or concerns about exercise or diet, please talk with your doctor or a qualified healthcare professional before making changes. Take care of your second heart, and it will take care of you.